everyone, this is Pam from Bug Bites. This time my project is for Tuesday treats. I have to use the sentimental cartridge and I chose to make this layer. It has cuts from that, this feather, the ink, but the lens and the frame. So is the tag. But this title Memories is from Graphically Speaking. New technique which I tried, I think I'm quite crazy. I've not completely stuck all the elements down, so I can remove that. I just have a frame and this used some pop darts so that it can be put like that and so that the tags can go in. And I also put some photo, and I want to call to your attention this particular frame. It looks like wood, and to an extent it is wood, but I have got this using a cricket cut. So what I did was I moved that out of the way. So I just took a chipboard piece. You can take a cereal box thickness. I cut two pieces out of it. I kept one aside. I took some wood filler and then applied the wood filler thickly on to the chipboard piece. And I'll apply a thick glove, rather a thick layer like this, and take care when you get the wood filler from the shop. It might be a little bit liquidy, so keep it open for maybe 10 to 15 minutes and allow it to set. And you don't need to do that, but if you apply it as soon as you get it, you just have to let it sit a while. Take care to get a wood filler which dries to a sandable finish, because you do want this to dry and you want to sand it. Even if you do not want it too smooth, you do want to sand it a little bit, and it has to be dry for that. I got this from Walmart. It's Elmer's. It's pretty easy to work with. So once I apply like this, and because I need to sand it, I need to apply a little bit thick coat and do it on a plastic sheet like this. And then once you apply it, just like you would apply it just like you would frosting on your cake. And at this stage you can do it inside, even though your scrap room might get a little bit messy. I want to warn you, this procedure is a lot messy, so be prepared for that. And then once I do that, I just wet my, I'm using a plastic palette knife, so I can just smooth it a little bit like this. See, it will not be that rough, and I can really smooth it with a lot of water. And once I do that, I'll allow it to set for 10 minutes so that basically the shine goes away from that. See, it's how it is shiny. It is a little bit shiny, wet with water. I want it to go away. And once it sits a little bit, see, the shine is gone. It's not even 10 minutes, it's about 5. I'll try to make a texture. Either I've now taken a toothpick and I've removed the cotton from one end of a Q-tip, and I will try to go deep, make a mark deep, freehand a design. And this process will take a little bit of time. See, on some places it is going through, if you can see, some places it is deep and in some places it is not. So I can always, the places where it is not, that means it is a little bit more wet. So after another 5 or 10 minutes, I'll come back once again. I can do this process, on and off for about 10 to 15 or even half an hour. So just go freehand around. So once this is done, all the things which are poking out, you can sand that portion. I have allowed my texture to be a little rough, but if you want a smooth texture, then two things you have to be aware of is you need a very thick layer, so that even after sanding you get some of that wood feel. And when you sand it, you're removing the layer. And then this has to be really deep, a little bit deep, because where there is a mark and where you have carved into it, when you apply stain, the stain will sink into that portion and it will look more darker than the rest of the wood. So you can just freehand, or you might try stamping on it, but I would advise you to wash the stamp immediately. Nothing will happen to it, but wash the stamp and you will not get that much effect unless it's a little bit more dry. At this stage, all of that will stick to the stamp. So preferably wait for a little bit longer, and you can try it. I mean, you can try to add texture over. You can see I've made some holes, nice holes with the Q-tip. You can use anything which gives a texture. I even used the one that comes with the Cricut, the picker. I've used even that, but use something which is disposable because you don't need to clean. So just freehand. You see, as it dries, it goes deeper, but it pushes lots of grain to the sides. So you have to strike a balance between the dry, too dry, not too dry, and not too wet either. And once you have that done, allow it to dry and keep coming back. And that has a hole like this. If you're like my frame, it did have. After about 15-20 minutes, you can try to push it out before it dries too much. If it's still wet, you can try to push it out, keep pushing it out till you get the holes cleared. So once you do that, and I have another piece which is here, I'll just take a sander and sand it a bit, and use a fine sander, smoothen it out. Try testing it out on a piece. And another thing to remember is, if you want a project urgently, this is not the way to go about it, because this process itself takes about at least 2 days. So this sanded piece took 4 hours for me to dry because it was a little thin. It has taken 4 to 5 hours. I can of course stain it. I can stain it with today evening. Suppose I started the process in the morning, I can stain it today evening itself, but then tomorrow morning I have to apply a second coat depending on how thick I want. And then after that coat dries, I have to apply the sealer. You need to seal it with a polyurethane sealant for it to give shine. You can use either the satin finish or the gloss finish, and you need to seal it. So give yourself about 2 to 3 days to finish the project, and do only this in the beginning. Cut 2 pieces, and I'll tell you why you need 2 pieces. Because after staining, this gets a little, the back, it gets a little messed up. So you want it to be clean. You want to layer on top of that, glue it together, and then put it on your paper. So once I have sanded it, I'll blow to take the texture out of the holes, and I'll also try to remove it and take a brush and gently remove all the tiny pieces. Then I take any wood finish, whichever you like. I have chosen red mahogany here, but you can use a pine texture. Just open it up, take a sponge brush, and then just stain it, and then just take pick out the excess by a cotton rag and allow it to dry for about 2 to 3 hours. It will dry pretty quickly, and then put one more coat on it. After you're done, you can take the polyurethane and follow when you have the wood finish, read on, because it tells you that for some stains like this one, there are options for sealing it, and it will tell you, especially for this red mahogany, it says do not use one particular type of sealant, use the other. So read that in the shop itself, and then get the correct finish and the correct sealant for it. I'll put this aside.